All right, we're live, and I just made it. If you guys had just seen me, I was running to my chair, jumping in, and getting ready to go. So I am a little discombobulated, but I'll calm down in about 2 seconds or so. But I'm excited to be back. Last week, I spent some time with family. I had some family commitments that I needed to take care of, and I'm excited to be back and in this chair and ready to share information. Today is October 1st, if you are watching me live. And I want to say a special welcome to everyone that is on with me live. Feel free to drop in, let me know where it is that you're watching from. And hopefully, you are excited about the fourth quarter of the year because this is where a lot of great stuff can happen in your business. A lot of sales can happen. Your audience can grow. There's a lot of great stuff that's going to happen. And so I hope you're excited about it. It is also the start of Breast Cancer Awareness Month. So I am wearing my pink in support. It's not touched me personally, but it surely has touched a lot of friends and family members. And I think those of you who have ever gone through it, you guys are true champions. And, just know that in my heart, I am supporting your journey along the way. So feel free again to just drop in, let me know where you're watching from. Yes, happy new month. I love that, Ashioma. And I am always excited to see you on live with us. Today, we're going to be talking about a topic that I think everybody can benefit from. So hopefully you have your notepad and you have your pen ready to go. I see that TK is here from Missouri. Spent a lot of time in Missouri. I'm a Midwestern girl, but I currently live in the South, originally from Wisconsin. So I've spent lots of time in Missouri over the years. Again, grab your notepads or however it is that you take notes, because one of the things that I'm going to be doing is sharing with you some information that I don't think gets talked about enough, but it is critically important in terms of building your business. And what we're going to be discussing today is how to build the know, like, and trust factors in your business. Everybody always says you need to do it, but people don't necessarily teach you how to do it. Now, as I mentioned, it is very important because if those factors are not in place, your business is going to be stagnant. And I'll talk to you about some of the reasons why. And I'll also talk to you about how you can make sure that you are, building that factor and building it rather quickly with individuals. So, as always, if you do have any questions, I'm just getting my notes ready. So, as you know, what I'm going to be doing here, let's see. Bear with me. What I'm going to be doing here is certainly looking down at my notes. So, if you see me doing that, that's all I'm doing is I want to make sure that I don't miss anything. So give me 1 second to get everything in place that I need. Got it here. All right. So the first thing that I want to talk about is what we mean by the know, like, and trust factor. Come on. Here we go. I think that I finally got myself together here. Okay, my screen was going crazy. I use a couple different screens as I'm doing trainings like this, so it gives me a chance to actually see my notes and also to see the comments as they're coming through. So the first thing that I want to talk about, as I mentioned, is what we mean by the know, like, and trust factor. When we talk know, like, and trust, these three components have to be in place before people will ever buy from you. People have to get to know you. It's kind of like, when you are meeting someone for the very first time, you don't just instantly deem them to be your friend. You take time to get to know them, to learn what they're all about. You're trying to figure out what their values are, if they align with you, are you guys going in the same direction, and so forth. So people have to, they've definitely got to get to know you in that fashion. And it typically is going to take people a few exposures to you, actually several exposures to you, before they feel like they get to know you. But I'm going to share this with you, and I'm going all off screen here. But as I think of things, I want to share this with you. The thing about video, and why I really gravitate toward video is it helps to build the no factor really quickly. The reason for it is after people have watched you on camera several times, even if they are recorded videos, whether they are long form videos like what you could see if you go to my channel, or if they've watched a ton of your short form videos, your reels and so forth, they feel like they get to know you because they see you. They see your hands moving, they see your mouth moving, they see you smiling, they see it's just easier than if they're just reading posts that you've written without the opportunity to actually see you in action, so to speak, the 3D you. So understand that if you're trying to figure out one of the best ways to build this factor relatively quickly, don't rule out video. I know it's uncomfortable initially. I know that it can be intimidating. Trust me, I get it. I've gone through all of those different things. But one of the things that tends to happen is once you decide what it is you want, then you have to build some courage from within and you have to say, I'm going to go for it. So, if video is something I've always wanted to do, but I am a little afraid of it or intimidated by it, I'm just going to have to be courageous. I'm going to go for it because I know in the long run it's going to help me. So, just understand that. Now, I'm not saying you can't build the no factor or allow people to get to know you using other forms. You can. I just feel that with video, it happens a lot faster. So just kind of keep that in mind as you're going through everything. Now, with that no factor, once people feel like, they know your values, they see how you're operating, they know the content that you're teaching, they know how you teach it, they see your style, they see, the types of things that you are impressing upon them, how you're doing it. For example, one of the things that I tend to hear from individuals who are part of my audience is, I like your teaching style. Now, understand something. My audience tends to be individuals who are 45 years of age and older, primarily women. Now, does that mean I don't have men or younger people or older people in my audience? It doesn't, because they're definitely there. But I hear that a lot, and sometimes it's because they have watched enough of my videos on how I demonstrate things, how I do tutorials and so forth to say, I like that style. So this is someone I feel like I can definitely learn from. The same thing is going to be true for you. As you start to create more content, whether that's videos or reels or written content, if you decide to go that route, you're going to start building that audience. And as you start building that audience, people are going to get to know you as well. As I said, I just think you can do it faster with video. So that is my plug on, how you can go about the ability to build an audience relatively quickly, as well as the no factor. All right, now, what's the next part of it? It's the like factor. People can get to know you, but now they have to decide whether or not they like you. And it's a bit, I don't know, because they're not physically meeting you in most cases, but they're going to decide whether or not the way you deliver content, for example, is something that, they like that style of delivery. For example, I'm one of the individuals that will very quickly tell you the hustle culture is not what I subscribe to. Now, there might have been something that I would have subscribed to years ago, but not at this point in my life. So the individuals, the 20 something year old young men who are into the Lamborghinis and, work until you hit your goal and don't sleep until you're dead. That's just not me. So I'm not going to be their girl. I'm not going to be the person that they want to connect with. And that is okay because that's not who I'm attempting to connect with. One of the things you have to be okay with is the fact that you're going to attract people But you also have to be okay with the fact that you are going to repel some people. And that's what it's all about. We have to, our goal is here we have all of these individuals that are out in the world that are looking and going after our content or looking at our content. Well, one of the things that they're going to be doing is looking for that guide for them. And you're just not going to be the guide for some people. And as I mentioned, you just have to be okay with that because your goal is to sort through and to get to the people who are going to be your true fans. There's actually a book. I'm sorry, it's not a book. It's more like an essay, and I will link to that in this. I'll put a comment below, but it's all about the 1,000 true fans. That's all you really need. Those are the people that are going to show up on your live trainings. They're going to watch your videos. They're going to open your emails. They're going to buy your products. They're going to be your cheerleader. That's who you're looking for. Now, are you going to get them immediately? Absolutely not. But those are the people that really like you. Those are the people that you are sorting for. And that's the way I like to think of this. You're just sorting for those people. And I want to say this too. For those of you who have built a following online, whether that is, it doesn't matter what platform it's on. Of course, you're going to have people that are followers or subscribers, depending on the platform. You're also going to have individuals that are on your email list. Here's the thing that's going to happen, because I had this discussion with someone, and I don't mean to laugh. She knows, we laughed about it later, and I won't say her name, but she was so upset because some people had unsubscribed from her email list. Well, that's going to happen. I've unsubscribed from email lists. And I said, have you ever unsubscribed from an email list? She goes, yeah, I do it all the time. And then we laughed about it because sometimes what happens is maybe someone came to the internet with the goal of learning to do X, and they were really excited about that. And they found someone who was going to be their person, if you will. And then they decided they didn't want to do that. So they unsubscribe from the list. It's going to happen. So don't look at that as people not liking you anymore. It just simply means that either they're at a different point in their life, maybe you changed your niche, maybe you changed the way you deliver things. Maybe you selected a different platform altogether. But just know that you're going to find your people, and it's going to take you going through a lot of individuals in order to do it. Now, after people get to know you, decide that they like you, and I'll come back to like as well. Now they have to determine whether or not they trust you, because if they don't trust you, in other words, if you say that your product is going to deliver X, or you're going to provide this type of transformation, and it doesn't do that, they're not going to trust you. Another thing, clickbait. Now, if you don't know what clickbait that is, that's simply where someone will use a title to get people to click into their content. And then when people start going through the content, whether that's written or video, it does not relate to the title. Now people are like, you know what? I can't trust this person. So that's going to be another reason why. So you have to be true to what it is that, you say you're going to do. Because again, if that trust factor is not there, you can forget about them. They are definitely going to unfollow you, unsubscribe, whatever they need to do to move on and find somebody that can be a guide. I want to go back to something else that I forgot to mention on the like factor, which is sharing your world with people. And you decide how much it is that you are willing to share. Here's what I mean by sharing your world. You have the opportunity, for example, let's say you have a pet that you absolutely love, and your pet jumps up on your lap while you're doing trainings. Let's say it's a fluffy dog or whatever, whatever it happens to be. Well, you know what? There are going to be dog lovers in your audience, or animal lovers in your audience. And again, that's getting to know you, because now they're connecting and saying, we have that in common. Another thing might be sharing, for example, your children. Now, I am one of those people that you have to decide whether or not you're willing to do that. Some people are all into it, others not so much. It's okay. Same thing, sharing your family life, sharing your values, your spirituality, whatever it is, that is another way for people to get to know whether or not they like you. Okay. So sharing that, sharing those things that are important to you, but only sharing what you're comfortable with. I'm certainly not somebody who's going to share anything that I'm not comfortable sharing. If somebody were to ask me about it, I would just simply respond by saying, you know, um, that's not something I usually discuss. That's not something that I will discuss, whatever it happens to be. You're setting a boundary, you're setting guardrails, if you will, around it. So just know that you get to control what it is you're going to share. What you're going to discuss, what you're going to say. If in fact your spirituality is very important to you and you feel comfortable sharing that, by all means do it. But if you're not, then don't do it. So remember, this is your business. You get to decide that. And it doesn't matter what aspects of your life you choose to share, there are still going to be people that are going to come into your world and want to be part of that world. And some of whom are going to become part of your super fans, the 1,000 individuals that you're ultimately looking for in order to really grow your business. All right. Any questions or comments? Feel comfortable putting that out there. Anything you'd like to say? All right. Now, the other thing that I want to talk about is other ways that you can connect with people. You can continue to connect with people, and this is really important. Let's say, for example, people have begun commenting on your whatever it is your content happens to be, whether it's videos or posts or whatever the case is, even email messages. I want to make sure that you are responding to every single comment while you can. Now, once you get to a point where your audience is so huge, it may be difficult to do. But right now, while you have a relatively small audience, take the time to respond to people. That you would be surprised at how many people will respond to me and say, "Oh, I didn't expect you to answer." A lot of people don't answer. No, I answer my comments. I feel like this. You have people that are going to watch your content, and then you're going to have people that are going to comment, your content, and others that are going to take the time to comment. Those people that take the time to comment, they're kind of moving themselves forward in the arena to more like the VIP seats, if you will. So those are the individuals you're really going to connect with. Respond to their comments. And if you want to keep the conversation going, this is just a little trick for you. In the comment with a question back to them. Okay. So if they say, I really like the way you presented that, you can say, well, thank you. I appreciate that. Is there any other type of topic you would like to see me cover? And so that's a way to get the conversation to continue. Another thing is be interested in what they're interested in. So if they say to you, I'm in the process of writing an ebook. This is a thing, I've shared this several times. I have an entire ebook playlist. And so I get a lot of people that will say, because I think I ask them in 2 or 3 of the videos, what type of ebook or what's the topic of your ebook? And so people will respond to that in the comments. I will respond back to them, and I always encourage them. I always ask them, when are you planning to release it? Come back to this comment if you can and let me know once it's up. I'd love to check it out. So you're being interested in them. You're not just necessarily expecting them to only have interest in you. It's not a one-sided thing. You've got to be interested in them as well and show that. And one way to do that, again, is with your comments. All right? Comments back to them. Now, another thing is another way that you can do this is if they comment, another thing you can do is pop over to their portion of the world, if you will. So if they have an Instagram page, a Facebook page, a TikTok account, a YouTube channel, or whatever, pop over, watch one of their videos, or read one of their posts, or whatever the case is, and leave a genuine comment. Okay, I can't tell you how far that goes. And you're not doing it because of what you're going to get back. You, again, are just showing that you are, one, a real person, and number two, you're genuine. You're the type of individual that is willing to go a little bit further than most people. The reason why I'm going to suggest that you do that is most people won't. Okay. So it's going to put you worlds apart from everybody else. Be interested in other people. Okay. And what it is that they offer. Now, another way that you can continue building these factors is if you have an email list. You can, in your emails that go out, you can even have a question that says, respond to me and let me know X, Y, and Z. Let me know where you are with this. Let me know what you're currently working on. Let me know what you're struggling with. Let me know whatever. Because all of that is, again, a way to connect with individuals. The other thing that happens is oftentimes they will tell you something that they're struggling with, and the other individuals who got that same email and read it may be struggling with the exact same thing, but because they're, a little shy, maybe they didn't have time, they just didn't respond back. But that one that did, again, move themselves it more so into the VIP seats where your super fans are starting to develop. So I can't encourage you enough to take the time to be interested in other people and show your interest with them. All right. So let me know whether or not this is making sense to you. If you have any questions on it, and certainly if you have any comments, are you doing any of those things? How are you connecting with your audience? Would be my question to you. Are you responding to each comment that you're getting? Are you asking questions? Another thing you can do is polls. Take polls from individuals. Now, sometimes polls are a little more challenging because you don't really get to see who responded what. Now, you can do that if you just ask people to respond to your email, or you ask them to respond to your comment and tell you what their answer is. But oftentimes people just want to click the button. So that may not necessarily be the most efficient or effective way of actually getting responses. Okay. All right. Now, let me just take a drink of water here. I also want to make sure I haven't missed anything. Okay. Now, the next thing, let's see here. I just want to make sure. Oh, this is good. Fourth quarter, since we're now in fourth quarter. Just understand again that people are going to be bombarded with offers. You're going to see, if you're on, Instagram or Facebook, you're going to see a ton of offers that are showing up as ads out there. So again, how are the people who are doing really well, how are they differentiating themselves from other individuals, even on posts and so forth? Just take a look at that. And so again, what can you do to stand out a bit more? And as I said, some of the things that a lot of people are not doing that you could very easily do is just responding to the comments. You'd be surprised at how far that goes. All right, now the other thing that I want to say is this: focus on a single platform. And I say this all the time, and I'm going to continue to say it because I see too many individuals who are brand new or just getting started, just kind of getting their sea legs, if you will, and they're trying to be all over the place, and they're not being as effective as they could be. If you are building on that single platform, your audience and your audience is on that platform, they're going to know that you are posting content on a regular basis. For example, my audience now knows that on Wednesdays at 12 o'clock Eastern time, I'm going to be sitting in this chair sharing some type of information that relates to my content pillars. I'm going to be providing them with information that is designed to help them build their business. I'm going to be focusing in on helping them to move the needle. You have to figure out which platform you're going to be focusing on and what are some things that you can do. So, for example, it might be Monday motivation. Maybe on Mondays you always do motivation. And so you're going to have people that will come to your page or your platform or whatever, and they're going to be looking for that because on Mondays they know you do that. Tuesday might be tips or whatever. And I'm not saying you have to have a theme for every day. I'm just saying you have to have something that people are going to know that you're going to show up and do, whatever that happens to be. Okay. So make sure that you, in fact, start thinking through things that you can do that will allow you to further connect with your audience in a way that they start showing up to be part of whatever it is that you're doing. Now, another thing I'm going to say to you, I talked about video, but if you're willing to do live streams, just like what you see me doing here, I can tell you that goes a long way in terms of actually building a connection with your audience. And here's the thing that you have to be aware of. When you first start live streaming, hardly anybody's going to show up, if anyone shows up at all. Then what you're going to find is more people will show up. But the other thing that you're going to find, and this is what's true for me, is more people watch the replay. Why? Because at the time that I live stream, 12 o'clock noon, a lot of people are at work. You have other individuals that want to get the information in a way where they can actually take notes. And so they want to be able to sit down and do it when, they can do it without interruptions. So just understand the same thing's going to be true for you. So I can't encourage you enough to actually consider live streaming. What do you need to live stream? Really not a whole lot. If you're going to be live streaming on most platforms, you can actually just have some good lighting, which means you could go sit in front of a window. Use the back camera on your cell phone because that's going to have a higher quality of image, if you will. And then the other thing would be to make sure that you have good sound. You can get an inexpensive microphone, clip it on, and that in and of itself is enough to live stream. You don't need all of the stuff that I have here. This stuff has been acquired over more than a year. And I used the money that I earned from the YouTube partner program to pay for it all. So I didn't come out of pocket with anything. All right. So Ashioma, let's see here. I'm going to read your comment. Let's see. Your target audience: coaches, podcast speakers, online service providers, and small business owners. And you're focusing on Instagram. Perfect. You have already, and those individuals are there because that in and of itself is important. A lot of people will select a platform that they enjoy, but their audience is not on there. And then what I would say to you in doing that is, have you come up with anything that they can count on you doing? Like, for example, do you have a themed topic? Do you have the fact that you're going to be showing up and doing a live stream with them? Is there anything like that? Because again, that will go a long way in terms of building the know, like, and trust factors. All right. Now, the other thing that I would say to you that helps to build the know, like, and trust factor would be educational content. Not so much the entertainment, because I'm not talking about that. There are people that are going to be certainly entertained by it, but but educational content is a great way to build the know, like, and trust factor, because you are in most cases helping people solve issues, problems, challenges, learn something new that they don't currently know. Remember, you're acting as their guide, and you don't have to be an expert in whatever that field is. You could simply, there's two ways that I would suggest you do this if you're fairly new. One is you could be someone that just simply says, this is a topic I'm really interested in, and I'm going to take you along on the journey. So you're just sharing your experience. And it's kind of like, I learned this, I want to teach you that. The other thing is, you really only need to be 1 to 2 steps ahead of the individuals that are ultimately going to be in your audience. So don't feel as though you have to be an expert in order to do it. Whatever content you're going to be sharing, just make sure that it is going to be benefit somebody who is just getting started. Make sure that it's benefiting someone that maybe has gotten started, but you know these are the struggles or the challenges that they're going to encounter along the way, and you can share that type of content. All right. So, educational content is incredible. You can do tips, you can do hacks, which are like, sneaky ways, legal sneaky ways, if you will, to get around things. So, for example, I just gave you a hack in terms of how you can live stream. You don't need a fancy camera. You don't need any of this stuff. Just get yourself ready to go with those three things: light in front of a window, a camera, use the back camera on your cell phone. The third thing, an inexpensive microphone. Okay, so that you can share content like that if you know the answers to those things. And chances are you absolutely do know the answers. So, again, a tip that I would give you is take the time and maybe write down 25 things that you wish you had known when you were just getting started. Think of 5 to 10 different tips that somebody who is, again, just getting started or perhaps new to that area would benefit from learning. You'd be surprised at how those types of things are going to bring people into your world. And the other thing that happens when you use educational content is you start building authority in that specific area. What do I mean by authority? It just simply means that people know that you know your stuff. That's all it is. You know what it's going to take. And not so much because, again, you're an expert, but because you went through it. You were able to successfully navigate it. You were able to figure it out. And so now, instead of somebody who is new trying to figure this stuff out and Googling and coming up with 25 different things that are showing up, they can feel comfortable that they can come to your channel, your page, your whatever, and they're going to get that information from you, and in a way that's going to help them solve their problems, get past that, and experience the transformation that they're ultimately looking for. All right. All right. So now let's go on. And again, feel free to drop in any questions that you might have as we go through things. Okay, so let's see. For right now, you providing educational content around repurposing, that's perfect. Because again, people need that, especially as we start going into this. I'm going to share this with you too, because when you talked about repurposing and all of that, I am a big fan of that, because as we go into fourth quarter, a lot of us want to take some time off with family for the holidays that we celebrate. And so, if we have content that we've created, repurposing it and showing them how they can schedule and post it is going to be, because a lot of people, you'd be surprised, don't know that that type of content can be reused or repurposed, or they don't know how to do it. So, they just are on the constant content creation hamster wheel, which who wants to do that? So by all means, that looks great. So I again, and I would encourage you to do that. Maybe you can put together something, 5 tips on whatever, and you cover one each day of the week. For a week or so, or maybe set up a challenge or whatever, a 5-day challenge for people. So there are lots of different ways that you can do that as well. All right, now here's something else I want to share with you about. And I know I'm kind of going back and forth over some of these topics, but as I think about them, I want you to write them down. So as it relates to the like factor, another thing that I want you to do is to share your failures. All right, as it relates to whatever the journey is that you're on and the business topic that you're going to be covering. Why? Because that's relatable. See, a lot of people are afraid to do things. Fear holds so many people back from moving forward. My goodness, I certainly have dealt with that in many different ways. And so I'm not afraid to tell people that I've dealt with fears. I've actually shared a book with my audience that I think a lot of people should read called Hello Fears. And I really believe that when you share your failures with individuals, you definitely become more relatable to them because see oftentimes and I'm not picking on anybody and I'm certainly not going to say any names, but oftentimes we have content creators out there that only share their highlight reel. They just do. That's their thing. They're not going to share with you that they failed at something. They're not going to share with you that they tried something or launched a product and it was an absolute flop. They're not going to tell you that. But you know what? You attempting to share your relatable moments to people also builds that like factor with people. It is also going to make a lot of individuals say, you know what? That actually helps me trust this person more because they're not simply telling me, that the world is perfect or my journey's going to be easy because it's not. And that's another thing I always tell my audience as well. If you think this stuff is going to be easy, it isn't. It is challenging, mentally challenging, but everything that we do in this business, you can learn. It's simple. It's just you've got to learn the steps and you've got to put them in order. And it's going to take you some time. But is it easy? No. So for people that, again, try to make things look like it's simply, you do this, and this, and these results are going to happen and you're never going to have any failures or challenges, that to me is not relatable. And I would dare say that for most individuals, they would feel the exact same way. All right. Okay. Now, another thing I want you to do is this. I want you to share your wins. Now, we talked about your failures, but I also want you to share your wins and not in a way that you're bragging. I just simply want you to share things with people so that they can see that you're progressing. Why? Because one, it shows them that you're doing things in an order that's going to allow them to grow. The other thing is it's going to also show them that if it's possible for you, it's possible for them because you're going to be sharing the game plan. You're going to share the strategy. You're going to teach them exactly how to do it. So you will hear me say, and this is just the truth, last year I think I started last year with 911 YouTube subscribers. Today, we're at about 7,200 subscribers, I think. I don't know what the exact number is. Let me just see. Hold on one second. I'll tell you. 7234 is what this says right now. Okay. So, over that period of time, we've grown. I like to share that with individuals because there's somebody right now who's looking at their subscriber count and they're barely at 200 or 100 or whatever. And they're thinking there's just no way that this YouTube thing is going to work for me. Or they're looking at, and I'm not saying that you have to or look at your success based upon subscriber count because you don't. I can tell you way more people watch my videos than are subscribed to my channel. Okay. So don't use that as a metric. That's a vanity metric, as we would call it. But I want it at least shows you some level of growth. The same thing with your email list. If you set a goal and you achieve that, share it with people because, again, it's showing them what's possible. All right. Oh, thank you so much. And again, my goal for this year was to get to 10,000 subscribers. Do I know whether or not I'm going to absolutely hit it? Maybe not, but I'll tell you what, I'm going to give it everything I've got. So, because I don't have it in me to quit. I'm just not one of those individuals that knows how to quit. I always tell people I quit one time for about 10 minutes and then I was right back at it. So I want you all to feel that I'm showing you the bad stuff. I'm showing you the good stuff. Oh, I also should have told you about my first, I laugh about it now. My first live stream was at the end of April. I think it was like April 30th. It was horrible and it's still up. Now, there's so much in me that wants to go and take it down because it was that bad. But you know what? I'm going to leave it up because it shows me or gives me an opportunity to see that I've grown. And hopefully, anybody who, suffered through that live stream with me, they've seen that growth has occurred. So feel free to share your achievements. So if in fact, you get monetized on YouTube or you get accepted into the Amazon influencer program, share that with individual. You're just simply sharing your wins in such a way, again, to show people what's possible for them. Because people who are truly part of your fans, those 1,000 fans that we talk about, they're going to cheer with you, not against you. And so they are going to be excited about your achievements. It's kind of like sometimes they're clapping harder for you than you're clapping for yourself. And sometimes we actually need that. Absolutely, TK. We are showing the good, the bad, and the ugly because all of that makes you relatable. It just does. And trust me, now what's going to happen, not that you didn't know this, but now what's going to happen is when you start scrolling through your feed and you're looking at people who are perhaps in a similar area of focus that you're in, whatever that happens to be your niche, you're going to see the individuals that are just showing their highlight reels, and then you're going to see those individuals that are showing the good, the bad, and the ugly, as you said, and you look at it and tell me which one you think is more relatable. I think it's pretty simple to see. It's just like, people that over, what do they call that? Where, they take their photos and they slap on all these filters. And, first of all, who's got time for all that kind of stuff? And secondly, I don't want a ton of filters on anything. And then somebody meets me out in public and they're like, oh, you don't look anything like, um, you look online and now they start questioning you. Now they're like, oh, what else should I not trust anymore? Because, this doesn't even look real. So just understand it is definitely going to help you if in fact you continue to be relatable to people. All right. Now, the other thing that I like to tell people is, for example, um, if I'm trying out a different product, for example, there is a product that or a service that I've been using for a long time, long, long time, okay? Probably 6 years now. And they just recently had this huge price increase. And a lot of creators use this service. And now they're like, oh, I don't know whether or not I'm going to stick with it. Now, the price increase it was more than most people probably would have expected. However, I have to now decide whether or not that's something I'm going to continue to share with individuals as a product that can work for them. And just so you know, I recommend System.io. It's not System.io. This is something else that I've been using for a long time. So I continue to support them. But I'm going to eventually make a decision as to whether or not I want to continue to recommend that to people. So again, you have to be transparent about things as well. And if something no longer serves you and you don't feel good that you can continue to recommend it, then let people know. Be transparent because people, again, will appreciate that as well as opposed to you just saying, you just stop talking about it or whatever. Now, I'm not saying you have to badmouth anything. You don't have to do that. You can just simply say, I've come across another solution that I think is a better option for you. And here are my reasons why. Okay. So from this point forward, this is what I'm suggesting. So again, we're not out here trying to badmouth anybody, but we are being transparent. Now, there are other things that are going to happen. For example, you might be using a tool and maybe a new tool hits the market and it does everything that old tool did and even more. And so again, you stop recommending that. You can just simply say, hey, I've come across something that I feel is a better option because of X, Y, and Z. It allows you to do, these things which the previous tool that I was recommending didn't allow. you can phrase it the way that you want. But my point is, what this is going to allow you to do by showing your or being transparent like that is, again, it lets people know that they can trust you. It lets people know, that you're a real individual that's making business decisions based upon information that you're receiving and you're sharing with others. So all I'm saying is, just make sure that you are, as you are building this audience, that you don't do anything that's going to cause them to lose trust in you. Okay. So, they're going to know you. They're not going to lose the fact that they know you. They might decide they don't like you based upon something you say, and that's going to happen. But you don't ever want to put yourself in a position where people feel like they can no longer trust you. Because once you lose the trust, you're not getting that back. Okay. All right. So, let's just see what else I have. So I talked about being transparent. I didn't talk about this. Testimonials results in your own case studies. So any testimonials that you have, feel free to share those. Those are things that you can share. They can be shared on a post, for example, where you can say, this is the reason why I do this. And then you share that testimonial. Now, here's what I will tell you. Do not share a testimonial unless you have received permission from the person who wrote it. That's, again, you just don't want to do that. So make sure, if it's a really good testimonial on something, you ask the person who wrote it, would it be okay if I share this in my social media feed, on my post, in my video, whatever it happens to be, and you get it in writing. Okay, so you send an email from your professional business address. You share the specific testimonial. You have to make sure that you do this, because this is going to help you cover yourself. And now you can feel comfortable that it's okay to share this, because there are some people that are going to write testimonials to you, but they don't want it shared publicly. So just make sure that you maintain the integrity. And if the person says it is not something I want shared, don't share it. Just don't do it. So just keep that in mind again, because again, this is all part of us making sure that we maintain those factors. We are allowing people to know that they can trust us. If they tell us they don't want to share in anything, they can feel comfortable knowing that we're not going to share it. Now, some people might say, if for example, when I tell stories, I may tell the story after receiving that person's permission to make a point about something else, but not use their name. Okay, so that's another thing. But again, I always get permission. Like I was telling you the story about, laughing about something later. Well, I never used the person's name. I never said, what the specific thing was that we were talking about. And she told me it was okay to actually share it. So all those things have to come into play when you're doing things. All right, now, part of your weekly content plan, this is kind of putting it all together for Q4, because see, in Q4, you're going to have a lot of eyeballs looking at things. You're going to have an opportunity to win a lot of audience growth, if you will, and to make money. Based upon people who are part of your audience or people that are getting to know you. So you want to make sure that the weekly content that you share brings all of these things together, where people can get to know you. They can decide if they like you. They can determine whether or not they can trust you. So think about how you can do that. As I mentioned earlier, you can make sure that you're sharing parts of your story, if you will. That, I don't even know if I shared that. You have to share your story, or you should share your story. You don't have to, but you should share your story. What led you to this. For those of you that don't know, I guess I'll quickly share mine. I'm a former certified public accountant that worked in corporate America, and decided, after working long hours, a lot of long hours, traveling 50% of the time for 10 years straight, I'm sorry. And then also, watching the companies that I worked for go through tons of downsizing, all I kept saying to myself is, there's got to be a better way. I just know there is. There's a way to make the same level of income that I'm making, but to do it on my own terms and not have to deal with the corporate politics and so forth. That's my story. So what I was able to do was to eventually replace my income and put myself in a position where now I can share the strategies with other people. Well, see, some people don't know my story because new people are entering my world all the time. And the same thing's going to be true for you. So you need to tell your story on a regular basis. You don't have to tell it every time you do it, but you do something, but you should share your story because your story is going to it's going to connect with some people that are in your audience, particularly if you've taken the time to truly identify your ideal customer, okay? Who that person is, because I can tell you, the individuals that come into my audience, if you will, it's I always feel good about it because I feel like for a lot of them, I've nailed them, in terms of what it is that they want to learn because I was them. They're working jobs. They are stressed out. They are at a point where they want to spend more time with their families. They want to travel. They want to pay down debt. They want to not have to go into an office. They don't want to experience, the risk of downsizing every year. That was another thing that, the companies that I worked for, it was all about the bottom line. So, it was a lot of downsizing. And I got tired of that. So I share that story with people, and people are like, you know what? Me too. Me too. I can understand. I can relate to you. And so when people send me email messages or they respond to my content or they hit me in the DMs, a lot of people will say, I feel like you were telling my story. And it's because I was telling their story. I'm just telling it from my perspective because that was my story as well. Okay. All right. So now let's see here. Last thing. Okay. I'm just looking to make sure I haven't missed anything. Next thing is going to be leading people to your offers. And this is without doing a hard sell. Okay. Most of the time, as you know, you can simply say to people, this is what is you might be experiencing, or here's the problem. You agitate it a bit. We've talked about this in some of the previous live trainings, and then you present a solution. And understand that by doing it that way, people won't feel like they're being sold to. They won't feel like they're being, how you ever walk into a store and as soon as you walk in, the salesperson is jumping right on you. That's not the way we're doing things. We're simply sharing our story. We're presenting problems they're likely to experience, and then we're agitating it, and then we're saying, and here's a solution. And oh, by the way, if you're interested, here's how you can get that solution. So just know that this is going to be something that if you are presenting things in that way, you're going to be in a much better position to actually get people to purchase your offers. Now, what if you don't have an offer and you're focusing on affiliate marketing? It's the same thing. You're going to simply say, here's something that I did. I actually kind of did it a little bit earlier where I talked about a book that I've read that I know helped me and could potentially help you. And that was the book Hello Fears. Well, that's one of the books that I have in my Amazon storefront. So there are all sorts of ways that you can lead people to solutions that are ultimately going to help you. And here's the thing, if you do it right, and you have the right people in your audience, people will now feel like you're pushing them in any way. They'll actually come back and thank you and say, you know what, that really helped me. That book was huge in terms of helping me. So I just want you to think through things like that, how you can present things, how you can make sure all of these other things are in place so that when you're ready to start selling people or recommending products to them, it's just kind of a natural progression to the next step. It's like your call to action is kind of like, oh, well, just tell me how I can get it. So I just want you to think these things through as you are really preparing yourself, not just for fourth quarter, but remember, the first quarter of next year is also going to be a huge opportunity for you to connect with people as well, simply because a lot of people want a better next year. They want a better, way of growing their income, or they want to add an additional stream of income, or they want to do something different, whatever that happens to be. They want to learn a new skill. And I always like to say that because I don't want to ever give you the impression that the only way that you can earn income is by being in the make money online. Trust me, you do not. As I said, you can take a skill that you have and monetize that. So if you are an individual that, for example, knows how to cook meals for a large family on a budget, 30-minute meals for a large family on a budget, and you know how to do that, you could make an entire series of things around that, from cookbooks to menus to shopping lists to the appliances that you use. There's all sorts of ways. So never think that the only way that you can earn income is by simply teaching people how to make money online. Teach people how to get better at the skill that they have, sharing the things we talked about, your failures. Hey, I teach people how to knit. My first knitting project was a major league failure. It was because I used this type of yarn. That's not the type of yarn I would recommend. These are the patterns I use. You get the picture. So share your failures. And then when people, come to you and say, hey, here's my first knitting project, and they take a picture of it and they post it for you, comment back, respond to them, give them some feedback, give them whatever. So all of these are ways for you to actually connect with your audience, and that's what's going to keep your audience growing. Because here's what's going to happen. As you are an individual who is connecting with your audience and you're providing them with information that they find valuable, they are going to tell people that they know who may be interested in the exact same topic, and they're going to bring more people to you. So, there's all sorts of ways of growing your audience. We talked last week about, or maybe not last week, the week before that, about, search engine optimization and that. But I'm going to tell you, one of the best things you can have is word of mouth. And that's where other people are telling people about you. So, just if you have these factors in place, that's going to happen naturally. It's kind of like if you go see a good movie and you really enjoy it, or you binge watch a series on Netflix or something like that, you are going to tell people about it. Now, if you're binge watching a series and you're sending people to, that series on Netflix, I can assure you Netflix is not sending you a check, but you did it anyway because it was that good. The same thing is going to happen to you. So it's kind of like, there's a book out there that's called, Be So Good That They Can't Ignore You. And that's what's ultimately going to happen. So if you are one of those individuals that's been wondering how to grow your audience, it may be that you haven't implemented some of the things we talked about. Because as I said, people always tell you, you've got to have the know, like, and trust factor. You've got to build the know, like, and trust factor. Okay, that's great. And the advice is awesome, but tell me how to do it. And so that's why I wanted to spend today telling you exactly how to do it, or some ways that you can do it. Because if you start to implement these things, I can assure you that you will build those factors with people quickly. And again, all three need to be in place in order for people to purchase from you. So just kind of think those things through as you go through it. All right, so let's see here. Oh, we're getting to the end of things. Let me just make sure I haven't missed anything. All right. Okay. So again, if any of this information has helped you, if you could, give it some thumbs up, feel free to share it with people that you think it will benefit from it. And remember, I'm always here on Wednesdays at noon, unless there's a family commitment, because again, I always make sure that I make time for my family. That's always going to come before my business. I couldn't do that when I was in corporate America, but my family comes before business in this environment that I've actually created here. All right. So for those of you who have been with me for a little bit, I always end with a little bit of mindset training. And so today I want to talk about getting started, getting into gear and setting goals. All right. Now I want to share something with you because maybe this is a time for you to do this as well. But today I started what I like to call a 90-day sprint. You can call it a 12-week year. I use the principles in the book, The 12-Week Year, and I'm going to drop, yep, family is everything. So, I mean, and my husband and I both, we have huge families. So, there's always something going on. We're already planning into next year for family stuff. Um, but one of the things that I wanted to say to you is that with this 90-day sprint, as I like to call it, using the book, The 12-Week Year, I've been able to accomplish a lot of things through that by doing different sprints. Now, a 90-day sprint is just a focused period of time where you're going to, or a defined period of time where you're going to focus on 1 to 3 goals. Okay. I don't want to give everything away with the book because I really think you should go through it yourself if you're considering a 90-day sprint. The reason why I like to do 90-day sprints is there's a finish line. Okay, and it's a hard line that you've set in the sand. So today starts the my 90-day year, which is going to end on December 24th. Now, with that, I have a goal that is set in place that I'm going to focus on. If you are interested in doing a 90-day sprint, are going to pick 1 to 3 goals, large goals, okay, not, super huge goals, but those 1 to 3 goals, no more than that. And I would even encourage you to pick one goal that you're going to focus on, one that's going to be really important and can move the needle forward in your business. And then you do the 90-day sprint using the principles of the 12-week year. And essentially, just to give you an overview, with that 12-week year, each week you're doing something that moves you closer to that goal. There are daily activities, and then there's a measurement tool that you're going to use to see how you did in relation to what you said you were going to do, because you're the one setting everything up. But all of the items help you to move things forward. Now, let me just give you a couple of things that have happened when I've done 90-day sprints. One, I was able to get monetized on YouTube. Now, the reason why that was important to me was I knew that if I focused on certain things, I could monetize or get my business monetized, my channel monetized, if you will. In another 90-day sprint, I was able to get approved for the Amazon Influencer Program after getting rejected twice. So it was like the third time was a charm for me. So there are all sorts of things. And what I did, and I'm going to share with you why this stuff that I talked about here helped me on that second 90-day sprint, because one of the reasons why I wasn't getting approved for the Amazon Influencer Program was I didn't have the engagement. So I had to start doing things a little bit differently in order to get my audience, me to engage with my audience and my audience to engage with me. And I guarantee you that was the reason why I was approved approved on that third time, if you will. All right. So these sprints work. They help you achieve goals because you have such a short window of time that you don't have time to mess around. So I'm just telling you, if you in fact want to achieve a goal, do a 90-day sprint. Now, maybe for you, this is not the time to do it, but you select another window of time and you focus your attention on that for 90 days. All right. Now, as I mentioned, I'm going to end with some mindset training and let you guys off of here. But the mindset training I want to share with you today is all about making sure you start things and you really focus on getting things done. And here's what I mean by it. I can't tell you how many times I'll say to someone, well, when are you going to start your channel? You've been talking about you wanted to start a YouTube channel. Or when are you going to get your lead magnet done? Or when are you going to set up your email, whatever it happens to be? And the response that I get is soon. I'm going to do that soon. Well, I'm going to say this to you, and this might step on a few toes, but it's okay because I've had my toes stepped on and it only helped me. Soon is not on the calendar. There is no soon 1st. There's no soon 15th. There's no soon 30th. You need a specific date that you're going to do things. You need to sit down, map it out, and say, here's the hardcore deadline. My lead magnet is going to be done by this date. That's what you're going to have to do. My email list is going to be set up and ready to go by this date. My first product is going to be set up and ready to go by this date. Whatever it is, my marketing efforts for my affiliate products are going to be set up and ready to go by this date. And the reason why I'm really pushing you on this is it's really easy when life gets busy for us to just keep pushing the date out. And then we look up and 3 months have gone by, or 6 months have gone by, or maybe a whole year. And nothing has changed. And the old saying is true: if nothing changes, nothing changes. So if you don't want to be in the same position that you're in next year as you are this year, something has to change. And typically, it's all about hard deadlines and specific activities that are going to get you to that deadline. So, let's not use the word soon anymore. Let's have some dates. And you know what? If we miss the date, it's okay. At least your brain was focused on something. So, for example, I mentioned to you earlier, one of my goals was to get to 10,000 subscribers this year. I may not get to 10,000 subscribers by the end of this year, but I'll tell you what, I'm not giving up. I'm going to continue to push forward. And if I see that I'm at 9,000 subscribers on 12/31, then I'm going to give myself another month and my date will become January 31st, 2026. And you have to do the same thing as well. You are going to have to be the person that's going to hold yourself accountable when there's nobody else. I would encourage you to also have a community around you. And that's one of the things that I'm going to put together for next year. I want to put in place a place for us to be able to come together, those of us that are all on the same journey moving forward, where we can share things. So I'm actually going to set up a membership or a community for individuals, and there'll be lots of training in there. There'll be co-working sessions and all sorts of things that I'm going to put in place. But there's a product, a series of products that I'm releasing this year. As a matter of fact, the first product is going to release in 2 weeks. So, I've got to get that done before I can do anything else. But what I want you to start doing is giving yourself some full on deadlines and holding yourself accountable. Call it setting goals, because you really should be setting goals, and they should be written down, and they should be someplace that you can see them. Someplace you can see them often, and you have to review them. Every first of the month, I've done it already for this month, I review my goals. And whatever I did not achieve, it doesn't get wiped away. It just gets moved into the next month with another hard date on it. Okay. All right. So I am going to get off my soapbox now. I also want to just say that I appreciate those of you that are on with me live. I definitely want to thank you for being here. By all means, if again, there's anyone that you feel could benefit from this type of training, then by all means, invite them to join us live next week, Wednesday at noon Eastern Time. Or you can give them the replay, because that might be the time that they actually get to watch it. But otherwise, I appreciate you being on with me live. I'm saying hello as well to those of you that are watching the replay. And I look forward to seeing you have an incredible fourth quarter. I look forward to hearing about your successes, and you're going to have lots of training that will be coming from me that's going to help you hit those goals that you've set for yourself. And I look forward to it. So let's see. Ashiomia said that she is on her 90. In on the 90-day sprint. My 3 goals are getting a lead magnet and freebie ready. Yep. Set up my email management and start growing your email list. 2 to 3 clients in. That's an incredible. That's the way you have to do this. You've got to lay it out and be ready to go. So I look forward to hearing all of that. TK, you are very much welcome. I appreciate you being on, and I look forward to seeing you next week, Wednesday, 12 o'clock Eastern. And have an incredible week and enjoy your weekend as well. Talk soon. Bye.